Civil rights for the soul is our goal. Welcome to this week's World Affairs Truth Report number 8. And if you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Helen Jane Rose. I'm a channel, spiritual guide, healer, automatic writer and author of a number of books, including The Coming Times, which is where these World Affairs Truth Reports came from. These reports come out every weekly on a Thursday, and I write them verbatim and then I read them out. And then my lovely partner Ged, who's a craniosacral therapist and an acupuncturist and an intuitive healer, he joins me and he unpacks the messages and grounds them and brings his wisdom to them and his practical wisdom. So he'll be joining me afterwards. If you want to know a little bit more about us, on our YouTube channel, we've got an interview that we did together, which you'll find at The Coming Times Unpacked. And if you'd prefer to read these reports, then if you go to thecomingtimes.org, under the tab World Affairs Truth Report, you'll find them uploaded weekly, the actual transcript, so you can read those. Okay, right, so I am going to read you report number 8, and I'm not sure if once I've read it, I'm going to close my eyes and just see if, like last week, if an actual live channeling wants to come through me in the moment. I'm not sure. I'm going to just go with the flow of it and just see. It's something very new for me, but I'm going to give it a go and see if it's supposed to, so then it will come through. Okay, right. Welcome, beautiful souls, to this week's World Affairs Truth Report, number 8. So much is happening on the world stage that it's almost impossible, if you wanted to keep up with all that's taking place. But one thing's for sure, amidst so many distractions, impending doom, and uncertainty, planet Earth is ascending. We smile as a collective consciousness as these words are written through our scribe, as we bring our energetic frequency through her hands. We are here to help you remember the frequency that is most natural to you. And if you are not already, to encourage you to start to view what is going on the world stage as completely crazy. In a sense, a world run by madmen. Our mission, to bring into being a world based on peace, run by high vibrational beings who put people and the earth at the top of their priorities, as opposed to power, greed, and control. Yet they can only behave like this based on how far they have inwardly fallen from grace. We mean this not to sound too religious, but this concept is a real one. When you have fallen so far inwardly from your moral conscience, if you like, moral not being the best word, as we see a huge blur between what is judgmentally named as moral and what we are referring to. But nevertheless, it helps us to make the point we're trying to. When one has lost a sense of their own humanity and believes all the programming that is at the heart of them, driving them, telling them how to be and do, the results is what you see in the world. A world run by madmen who do not see human lives as something to cherish and the potential of what could be. Yet behind all their actions is fear. Fear currently feeds the way the world is. And we wish not to sound too controversial in what we say now, yet so many people who are claiming to be spiritual are sitting within the fear frequency too. What do we mean by this? Many spiritual ones are spending far too much time focused on others and what they're doing. Focused on others in the public eye, which is forgetting that every being is sovereign, if they want to be. To focus so much on others is to give away the power at the centre of you. Also, to bring your awareness that just because someone claims and gives themselves the title, the name and the labels such as High Priestess and Spiritual Guru, this may not be true. Discernment is so important from within you at this time. Do you feel fear emanating from them in their discussions of others? At a time of great disclosure in so many different ways, it's easy to fall prey to fear. But part of the purpose of these reports is to help you raise your frequency and vibration to remembering the divine being at the heart of you. To remembering why you are here at such a tumultuous time. Not to stay fixated on what others are doing. Whether that's from politics to entertainment. To remember they are a soul playing a role just like you. Yes, in a sense, it feels juicy to stay fixated on what is occurring on the world stage. Who is good, who is bad, etc. The issue with this, as things get more and more chaotic and as some unexpected twists occur, you'll be thrown from pillar to post if you're not stable at your core, knowing who you really are. If you're spending so much of your time fixated outwards on what's going on, trying to work it all out at the expense of yourselves, forgetting who you really are. We, like so many others acting as guides at this time, are here to help activate love from within you. Activate the consciousness of love and true divinity. It's the opposite of spiritual bypassing. It asks you to honestly look at you. And why is this so important? Because it's the only way the world will change. As consciousness creates, it's so important to understand this that we wish to say this again. Consciousness creates. And the current mass consciousness is creating what you see playing out on the world stage. A world being created by madmen and women. There is a malaise so widely spread that needs to be healed. Man's mad mind. A mind that is at war with itself. That believes that fighting in any capacity is a solution. A self-responsible soul sees all the places inside themselves that they are at war within themselves, first and foremost, where they are not self-loving, where they are self-critical, where they are fighting against themselves. Civil rights for the soul is our goal. Freedom from the malaise of the mind. As war rages, please bear in mind where it has begun from. A mind at peace, being led by the soul self, is where we are guiding you to. Okay, so I'm just going to close my eyes now and just tune in and just see if there's any additional messages that want to come through to you for today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I talk through this vessel and I come to you as the one you know as Saint Germain. I come through in this moment to remind you that, again, the message that will keep being repeated over and over and over again is for the deliberate reason of igniting in you that soul spark, that divine essence that once it is lit from within you cannot, under any circumstance, be disignited. It cannot. It is impossible. And this is why we work so hard to try and remind you of the spark that in many at the moment is lying dormant, that we wish so dearly to help ignite from within you. For when you realise and you remember at the heart of you who you really are, when you feel it, when you know it, it comes not from a book. It comes not from an external teaching. These are merely ways of leading you back to the true you. It is only ignited from you, from the help of your inner guides. And often it is helpful for the mirror of what lies within you to be shown to you. And this is one of the purposes of what you know as channeling. So we sit in front of you through another soul and we try to remind you at a feeling sense what is within you. You too have a connection. You too can strengthen your abilities, your gifts in whichever way is right for you. Everybody is bringing their inherent soul self through, as they ignite more with the true you, the you that is behind everything that covers your soul self. Everybody has abilities that are beyond what you can believe to be real. And everybody is being asked at this time to just dive a bit deeper within themselves. It isn't necessary for everyone to become channels per se, but it is necessary for everyone to connect into their soul selves, their true essence, and bring through what will be asked of you. And it won't be perhaps as outrageous as to some this seems. Perhaps it would be holding the frequency within yourself of seeing the world at peace, of seeing a world where everyone and everything is respected for being their individuality, their individual selves, in whichever way is right for them. For every soul is a spark of, if you like, the God self. And so every soul is trying to express themselves in their own unique way, yet have been so shut down. And perhaps part of connecting more into the soul self is being free to express oneself in whichever way feels right for them. And this may not necessarily be through what we currently perceive as the pursuit of creativity, whether that's through perhaps drawing or singing. Perhaps there are many more ways that are yet to be tapped into. And this we feel excited about. And this is what we would love you to understand, that connecting into your soul self brings so much freedom to you. And civil rights for the soul is part of the expression of this freedom of self in whichever way is right for you. And I just want to leave you today. I want you to imagine that through the hand that is being held up to you, I want you to bring your attention to your third eye, to the place we refer to as the center of your forehead. And just for a moment, I wish for you to put your attention there. And to just feel that you are staring at the hand in front of you. Focus as best you can in this moment with your attention inwardly on the center of your forehead. Stay with me for a moment more. With love and with only wishes of pure, unadulterated empowerment for you? Okay. Just one more quick thing. I just want to hold up the Coming Times book, and just to say that there is a bit in here that talks directly about civil rights for the soul. So I feel like that's been quite a strong theme of the message today. And so, yeah, I just want to kind of just say, if you want to read a little bit more about it, then here's the book. It's available on Amazon or on our website, thecomingtimes.org. Couldn't compute that then. Okay, I am going to shuffle over for lovely Ged to come and join me. I'm going to switch this off before I forget.
Thank you so much. Wow. I actually feel like I'm on the generation game now. And I've got to remember everything that came through on the conveyor belt from the last few minutes. Because just to prove this is live, the last part of that channeling was absolutely live. Normally I've got the transcript to work with for a few hours and I'll make some notes and have a think about it. But that was absolutely live, so forgive me if I don't remember everything. The thing that stuck out, well, there was a number of things. The first one they spoke about was the fact that, you know, this light can't go out once you ignite it and invite it into your world. And I get often asked in the clients that come to me, especially ones on the spirit path, you know, they make progress, they'll make changes in their life, and they're working on themselves and, you know, becoming self-aware. And then something significant happens in their life and they get challenged in a way that's very, very difficult, and maybe they react in a way that they don't necessarily like, and they ask the question, have they ruined everything that they've done up until this point? And that's never the case, and it's proven to me time and time again, because they'll come in weeks later or a month or so later and they're back to where they were before this challenge came, and they're generally better for the challenge. So I can testify that, you know, absolute truth, that the light never goes out. Once you start the spirit path, you're on a journey where it's only forward momentum. Sometimes you'll hit a few challenges in the road. And the other thing that stuck in my mind was about the gifts, the inherent gifts. And it felt like Saint Germain was talking to the God inside us, like directly. I could feel that viscerally. But I've only got to look to Helen, you know, to see how that, you know, gift has unfolded very, very quickly. Okay, Helen's been transcribing, channeling for a while, and certainly over the last year she's been recording more. I mean, she's out and about in the car or meditating, and, you know, without being, you know, judgmental or detrimental in any way, when it first started it was quite clunky. And then so last week she's done, if you've heard 7, I encourage, if you haven't heard it, then go back and watch it, listen to it, because that was the first time she's done a live channel after the transcript, and I thought that was amazing. But listening to it today, it was just completely fluid. There was no distortion in it, and that's the gift unraveling. That's the gift showing itself. So she found the courage to do it. You know, she's putting herself out there on the world stage, you know, and that's a difficult thing to do. But yeah, I mean, hats off. But that's just allowing the gift to come through, and, you know, play with it, whatever it is that's your thing, and just know that it's going to take you on a journey somewhere. What you think it is at that moment is not it. It's just the start of it. So just have fun with it. And if it's not joyful, then don't bother. I mean, there's no point unless you find some joy in it. Yeah. What else? I can't remember what else they were talking. Maybe you can come back at the end. But I'll go back to, if I can remember anything else. Clearly I wouldn't have done very well on the generation game, but so they refer to so much happening on the world stage, it's impossible to keep a track on it. I mean, we can only spend so many hours a day on Instagram, 24 for some people, but even then you wouldn't hear and see everything. So yeah, it's quite overwhelming, but it's distracting us from going inside, where they keep the previous 7 reports have all referred us to going inside and being still. And these noises, these things that they are juicy, as they referred to, because it's so mesmerizing. It's so mesmerizingly mad that we can't stop looking at it. But we have to pull ourselves away from it, just to take a notice of yourself, to remember yourself and who you are in and amongst all of this, because you're a significant person. You're a unique soul that's got a role to play in it, and it's really important to remember that and bring your attention to it. But it says one thing for sure: amidst all the distractions, that planet Earth is descending. I'm sure here they meant humanity as well, but maybe not. But they certainly suggesting a momentum in the right direction. Now, they've also referred to this before, and also I've referred to other teachers that I've listened to that suggest the same thing. But it's not a done deal. I mean, it's there and available to us, but we have to pull ourselves to it by making the right choices. It's our choice to create or not to create, but it's there and available because humanity made a choice in this latest astrological phase, or prior to it, to say that we want to choose a new way, that we're tired and exhausted from the old way, and that we're going to create a new human. And so the suggestion here is that momentum, the underlying momentum, is moving in that direction. So, let's keep it moving in that way. Let's not get drawn in too much to the noise, and sit and understand, listen to yourself, and get excited about the gifts that you've got that are going to come out and be seen and heard. They say we smile as a collective consciousness as these words are written through our scribe, as we bring our energetic frequency through her hands. Now, I'm going to turn this one to Helen, just to explain what that feels like.
Do you mean when I'm writing?
Yeah.
It feels, my hand feels like a little bit tingly. So it's got like it feels a bit tingly physically. But then I feel different. So I feel, I suppose it's a feeling of feeling like joyful and just completely at peace, I suppose. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. I mean, does it feel different to normal life?
Yes. Yeah, it certainly does.
And are you getting closer to that feeling in normal life?
I think so. Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, because they say they're smiling, so they're witnessing something that's a change, that's positive change for me. It says, we're here to help you remember the frequency that is most natural to you. So what they're saying here is that the way we are at the moment, the way humanity behaves, the way it thinks about itself and others, the way it relates to others and the earth, is not our natural state. So at some point in human history, we made a choice and turned the wrong way. We turned away from our soul and attached to the mind, And that's just got progressively worse and worse. And they're now encouraging us, and through these books and channelings and various other teachings, to return to self and to change the frequency to what humanity should be at. Whether there's been a time delay or I don't know, but maybe whether we're not growing up as quick as we should be, or whatever reason, I guess it doesn't really matter. But the statement here suggests where we're at now is a frequency that we shouldn't be at, and there is a frequency that we can get to through self-awareness, growth, and making the right decisions. They're asking us to consider what is going on in the outside world as being completely crazy and run by madmen. I mean, I don't think it takes a lot of encouragement to think like that, unless you're actually one of the madmen or madwomen yourself. You know, I think it's showing itself to be so extreme so that we can wake up. I mean, it's laughable in some cases, but absolutely horrific and horrendous in most cases. I mean, it's just vile, and it's not the way we're supposed to be. And the suggestion here that the mad men and women that are in charge have neglected their soul, have fallen so far away from the grace of their soul that they have no morals, no moral compass, no understanding, no compassion, no benevolence, no empathy. I mean, they're maniacs. And we've allowed them to take control. But it's only a reflection, you know, the greater consciousness reflection of a neglect of our own souls. And so we can change it in a moment, where we all decide to pay attention to our own values and understand that you're sovereign and that you can say no to all of this. And they go on to say, our mission to bring into being a world based on peace, run by high vibrational beings who put people and the earth at the top of their priorities, as opposed to power, greed and control. You know, there's not a single leader on the planet that's not self-serving at the moment. Anyone in charge of anything is not self-serving because of the way it's set up. Even the ones that come in at the lower rungs, that come in with good intentions, they'll understand that the way the system works, or they think it works, to get anything, you've got to basically sell your soul. And at that point, you know, they've chosen a rocky road. So we need new leaders to come. I'm very confident that they're going to come soon. And, you know, there'll be benevolent leaders, there'll be thinking of communities, community values, not just in the immediacy, but also for generations to come. I think I forget the name of the tribe, maybe Lakota, but maybe other American Indian tribes do the same, but they have a thing called a ring of fire, where their decision making is in a circle, male, female, and then a leader, a chief, or whoever at the helm, and they have to consider 7 generations. So if it was a crop, deciding to change crop, for example, they would have to consider what would happen, if the implications of that, and if they can't come at a good answer, then they don't do it. You know, we're just about satisfying one generation, never mind grandchildren. The immediacy of satisfying investors and whatnot. I mean, it's so basic, and anyway, we won't give it too much thought. So they're referring to a quite unusual statement about morals, and I think what they mean is they're saying that it's not being the best word, as they see a huge blur between what is judgmentally named as moral and what we're referring to, but nevertheless it helps us to make the point. I think that there's some confusion with religion maybe in this, where religious morals, or they appear as morals, are actually rules, and each religious order has their own rules. And are they necessarily moral? I mean, I don't want to pick out any particular ones, but I would say no. So what they're referring to here is your moral compass, your idea of right and wrong, and how you want to behave, and how you want to be relating to other people. So they're just drawing that distinction. When one has themselves lost a sense of their own humanity and believes all the programming that there is at the heart of them, driving them, telling them how to be and do, the result is what you see in the world. And I noted here that at this point you've surrendered all of who you are to the man-made systems, political, religious, ruling classes. So you're no longer sovereign. You've handed over everything to someone else or something else, and you're very weak at that point. So your center, your sovereign sense, is in the solar plexus, and that's who you are in the world. How you relate to it. Do you give power to others? Do you try and take it from others? And then body work, like Pilates, for example. A lot of these bodywork classes, they get you to focus on your core. You can't be knocked over when you're solid in your core, but you can easily be knocked over when you're not in it. And those exercises can become unsafe if you're not in your core, or ineffective. So we've become ineffective as a general mass population because we've surrendered who we are to someone else, or some ideals of someone else. They're not ours. They're made up. They're false. Make-believe, and we become vulnerable when we surrender our center. So you need to reclaim it. Do some body work and see how you feel when you're in your center. And then start making choices for yourself. And the suggestion here also, the world run by madmen and women who do not see human lives as something to cherish and the potential of what could be, yet behind all their actions is fear. So fear begets fear. That begets fear. And so, the very few that seem to be pulling all the strings and have a lot of the power in terms of money and resources, they understand that if you can create a society of fear, then you're in control. But they don't realise they're also operating from fear. Fear is everywhere when you behave the way in an inhumane way. If you drill down into all of these people, if you were able to sit in front of them and ask them why, you would find out it was trauma-based, fear-based, everything that they do. But they feed on it, so it starts to feed itself. So we're being asked to rise above fear, stay in that center. Yes, there's chaos going on, but there's no reason. Well, there are probably reasons, but it's much better to be confident in yourself and confident that you're a conscious creator than it is to surrender to someone else's ideals and belief systems. And they suggest also that fear doesn't exclude the spiritual community. It absolutely doesn't. There are some absolutely wonderful teachers out there, Helen included. But some of them are fear-based, and you've got to really discern. If you feel uncomfortable when you're hearing one of these spiritual teachers, and it might be there's just some aspect of their work is fear-based and the rest of it isn't, but we're being asked to discern, really fine-tune, And if fear's in there, come away from it. But at the same time, we're all part of the same playground, and some of these teachers and non-teachers, some of in all walks of life, they came here to create fear. They came here to create extreme situations, and so that we sit up, pay attention, so that you have a choice. Because if you don't, it can just be mundane. It would be very subtle fear, but it was still fear, but you wouldn't necessarily notice it. So we're being asked to really hone in, pay attention, and the barometer is how you feel, not what you hear. If you think that's not okay, then really pay attention to that. Too many times we ignore and just go ahead with it. Oh, they must be okay because they've got a good reputation, or they've sold 1 million books. Well, that's 1 million people who've not paid attention, potentially. And that's not fear-based, by the way. I hope not. At a time of great disclosure in so many different ways, it's easy to fall prey to fear, but but part of the purpose of these reports is to help you raise your frequency to remembering the divine being at the heart of you, to remembering why you are here at such a tumultuous time, not to stay fixated on what others are doing, whether that's from politics to entertainment, to remember they are a soul playing a role just like you, as we've just mentioned. Again, this is noise, and you're fixated on something that is taking you away from listening to your gifts, or creating joy, or helping someone else, or helping the planet. You've really got to pull ourselves out of these distractions, free up some time at least. Make a dedication to yourself to spend at least some time in the day to do something for yourself and do something positive. Even if it's for a few minutes, but increase that each day, and you'll start to feel better. You'll feel more well and positive, and the noise will start to feel even more repulsive. But that change process then creates the new reality. That's how it works. And also, the distraction of taking sides, that's how the game works for them. One day they'll support the red team and then switch to the blue team, and the moral team, the immoral team, and to the point where you're just spinning. You don't know who's what. And there's also, they mentioned earlier that we might be surprised by some of the events that take place, by not that someone or something that you might trust implicitly that's really supported you or seemingly supported you in your life turns out to be not what they are or who they are. But I think that much has gone on over the last few months that no one's going to be surprised. But it's a well-rehearsed process, spinning you. The NLP process as well. I mean, it has some great qualities and attributes to it, but it's a skill where they'll have the right side of the audience saying one thing, the left side the other, and the answer that they already wanted you to adopt is in the middle. They play tennis with your mind. It's literally mind control. So they say they're here as guides at this moment in time to help activate love from within you, activate the consciousness of love and true divinity. It's the opposite of spiritual bypassing. They're referring to it as self-awareness, I think. The spiritual bypassing can look at the love and light of everything, and that's a really lovely way, but is it actually doing anything? If you're not prepared to look at your own trauma, your own miscreations, accept everything about you, what you've done, who you've been, where you're at. It's all part of your journey, and it's all created, expansion in your consciousness. Let it rise, let it come to the surface, let it be seen, and then choose differently. If you choose the same again, then you've still got that to deal with, and it's going to keep you in a lower vibration, lower frequency. But if you make a positive change and a consistent change, then you've changed your frequency. So they're saying, be honest with yourselves, take full responsibility. And then you're not expecting anyone else, any political or religious leader, to do it for you. You've done it yourself. You've changed your vibration. They refer again to the madness as being a reflection of the general consensus. A self-responsible soul sees all the places inside themselves that they are at war with themselves, first and foremost, where they are not self-loving, where they are self-critical, where they are fighting against themselves. So the inner critic is and judges a mind at war with itself. Self-defeating, I'm not good at this, I can't do that, and I'm not lovable, I'm rejectable. That's a mind at war with itself, and then that shows up in the outside world. If you accept everything about you, and you make peace with yourself, then you'll make peace with the outside world, because consciousness creates as they stipulate. I love this statement: civil rights for the soul is our goal. It's the right of our soul to enjoy peaceful, loving, joyful, conscious existence. It's been sat quietly in the background waiting for us. That flame, that spark, waiting to be ignited, has the right to be seen and heard and express itself. And we've denied it for so long. Maybe it's time to give it the light of day and night. Mm-hmm. Did you want to say some more about that statement? Civil rights for the soul is our goal.
I did, but now I've gone.
Well, basically, the Divine Council mention it quite a lot in the coming times. Helen's book, written with the Divine Council. There's a lot of information about that.
I can't remember.
So if you're interested, go and get the book. And there's lots of other fabulous supporting information and help you find that connection with your soul. Yeah. So thank you once again for listening in, checking in, watching in. That was number 8. Can't believe it's 2 months already. But so amazing to hear how fluid the live channel was for Helen, and very much looking forward to some more of that. Thank you to Saint Germain and whoever else is contributing.
And so I've just remembered something that I was seeing, like as I was speaking, not seeing, but that feeling of there are so many different gifts. Like I was almost being shown as I was speaking, like how we'd never have known, for example, a piano or whatever, and somebody being able to play it so beautifully and bringing so much joy to people and helping to make people feel great, for example. And that there's so many different gifts and we can't even imagine. It's like music, for example, that we can't even imagine at the moment, that could just make us feel so amazing, that hasn't even been created yet. But there are so many people with these different gifts that if they can connect into something that they're bringing through, it's not here. And I just feel like there's so much of that we need to connect into in so many different ways, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and it's just about stepping into it and not thinking that what you're aware of already is meaningless or useless, and has got no interest, you have to step into it to start the ball rolling, and then it gets interesting. So pick up your passion, stay in your center, listen to yourself, cut out the noise, get excited about the future, and pray for the souls of those that are embroiled in all of the difficulties at the same time, and all will be well. So thank you again, and see you next week.